We can save Ajani by jump blocking with the Herald of the Pantheon, then drop planes, flip Nissa that enables Revolt, then we can return the Herald with the Renegade Raider and play the Harpooner to kill the winning Constrictor, provided of course the opponent decides to swing against Ajani here. But instead, all my plans go to the trash can. Right. Welcome back, dear YouTube viewers, and thank you for joining here. Today's deck is a white and green Revolt of Swords deck, which features lots of single copies of cards. Let's quickly take a look. We have the Elephant, Greenbelt Rampager. It self-returns to the hand if you don't pay the energy to play him. Then Implement of Improvement that we can use to gain life and draw additional cards. Ally Evasion, giving +1/+2 or returning a creature to our hand, whatever we choose. Aviary Mechanic that is able to return any permanent to our hand when it enters the battlefield. Then Herald of the Pantheon, we are running a couple of expensive enchantments and she's going to help us casting those and also provides a little bit of life gain. Then Primal Druid, that gives us the option to get more lands in the battlefield, is our ramp spell of choice. Then we have Evolutionary Leap to sacrifice those nasty creatures that we don't want and we want to get something else, and it may be killing the creature. We activate the Revolt and also do something cool with that. Oath of Ajani, what? Yeah, this is a very lovely enchantment that gives us +1/+1 counters on each creature that we control and also makes our planeswalker spells cost 1 generic less to cast. And a very cool idea that I had but was to include 2 copies of Oath of Ajani, because it being legendary will self-sacrifice when we play the second copy, which means that we have Revolt enabled, but there was no room for the second copy, so just 1. 2 copies of Long Road Home. This is excellent for the Revolt idea. And also a combat trick, we get to exile target creature. Could be an opponent's creature, but when it returns to the battlefield in the next step, the creature is going to have a +1/+1 counter on it, so most of the time we don't want to cast this on opposing creatures. Then Eldrazi Displacer, I think this is one of the best cards in the entire game, that has the activated ability with 2 and a colorless. We get to exile any creature and then returns to the battlefield tapped, which is pretty awesome most of the time since we can do this at instant speed. Then our first Revolt guy, the Harpooner, it has the ability to destroy a tapped permanent when Revolt is on and this enters the battlefield, which can be used in combination with the Eldrazi Displacer in a very nasty ways. Then we have Nissa, Basswood Seer, because our deck is going to love having planeswalkers and drawing more cards. Then Reclamation Sage, well, this is my nemesis, but I think it's worth the inclusion in this deck because that is a premium removal for enchantments and artifacts, and if we manage to flicker Reclamation Sage, we can reactivate the ability multiple times. Then 3 copies of Renegade Rallier. I think this is one of the strongest Revolt cards because it gives you the option to return a permanent with converted mana cost 2 or less from the graveyard directly to the battlefield. Then 2 copies of Acrobatic Maneuver, a very expensive instant, but besides flickering a target creature that we control, it also is going to give us a card, so it's a cantrip, and yeah, I like it. Then Pills of Mirasa, because this card is lovely and provides us life gain. The deck is slow, so we certainly are going to enjoy having the additional life, and we return creatures or lands back to our hand from the graveyard. Then Other Nissa, that it's able to put plant tokens. The plant tokens can then be sacrificed, and then we have Revolt. And also we can use the other abilities as well. Okitra the True, another guy that provides us with multiple tokens if we can afford to pay for mana, and other than that, she's a very strong indestructible creature. Only downside is that she needs to have at least 3 partners to be able to attack or block, otherwise it's awesome. Then 3 copies of Quarry Hauler. I think this is the most original card in this deck. I love it because whenever this one enters the battlefield, we get to put another counter for, or remove counters from a target which we might or not control, and it can be a planeswalker or some other sort of stuff that can goes on. Gideon, ally of Centicord. These are very good planeswalkers that can itself win us the game, but in this deck also the emblem is going to be powerful if we get to maybe activate the emblem and not killing our Gideon in the process. Could be fantastic. Then Ishkana, Revolt guy, but I like her having reach, so we have a coverage for against flyers, and also with Delirium enabled, if we get to flicker Ishkana, we're going to have a large army of 1/2 green spider creature tokens with reach in the battlefield, which it's a very good possibility. Then 2 copies of Call for Unity. I have big plans for this card that usually is extremely slow, and probably for the same cost you're going to find much better spells, much better cards for 5 mana, but I think that I want to try some ideas with this card in the deck. Then the last Nissa of the collection, Nissa Vital Force, that besides making our lands into a man that can attack for a hefty amount of damage, the +1 ability also is a tiny bit of mana acceleration, and also she has the ability to return permanents from the graveyard to our hand, and believe it or not, the emblem can show up oftentimes, and it's a nice emblem to have because then whenever we drop a land we are going to be drawing more cards. Then Green Warden of Murasa, that makes it possible for us to recover all the cards that we want from the graveyard, and given that we run the Pulse of Murasa, we can recover the Green Warden of Murasa and keep it going, or flicker the Green Warden, which is the strongest card to flicker in the entire game. And finally, Ajani Unyielding, a very powerful planeswalker that has the ability to give us card advantage with the +2, remove dangerous threats with the -2, which also exiles creatures that can be very problematic if they go to the graveyard, with the downside that it gives life to the owner of the creature. At some point we can exile our own creatures if we are in mortal danger. And finally, the last ability is a game-winning condition that gives 5 counters to every creature and planeswalkers, so it's amazing. Then we have pretty standard mana with the inclusion of 1 Wasted for the sake of the Eldrazi Displacer. Then Wastebell Abbey might show up, and Aether Hubs, Evolving Wilds. This is for the sake of Revolt mostly, and also 1 copy of Grasping Dunes to test it, how good can it be in this type of deck. I don't expect too much from this land, but it might be handy to have another land that we can sacrifice to activate Revolt, and has a very relevant effect in some scenarios, giving a negative counter to our opponent. So let's test the deck against human players. Alright, let's go. I have high hopes for the deck. It's difficult to play, but if we can survive long enough, then the late game should be ours. What is the late game? Well, it's not clear where one can draw the line. One lander. One lander. No one lander. So actually, it's half decent hand. We can go ahead with planes. Then some Petal Grove, Herald, and then Nissa. So hopefully we can stay afloat. We can also, well, let's save the Rampager for the Death Eye turn. Harpooner turn. Yeah. Okay, double green from the other side, which could represent some sort of black and green elf deck. Implement of Malice. Also could be a graveyard deck. So Renegade Rallier, which means we can safely throw away the Rampager to the graveyard. Well, not safely, but he's going to activate this once he draws a black mana. Another one, second one of those, but not black mana yet, which I'm going to be very happy about if the opponent does not find that mana, the Displacer finally. But in this situation, we just go with Nissa, and we could be keeping the forest in hand for the sake of the implement of Malice. Well, if the opponent finds he needs 2 black mana sources to make us discard 2 cards, and now he has to worry about our Nissa, so time is of the essence for the opponent. So far no creatures, and finally, so could be a negative counters deck. Defiant Great Maw. It's a 2/3. Right. Ali Evasion. We could use that over Nissa actually, but I don't think that's the time right now. Let's drop the Displacer here, and we can save any of our creatures using Ali Evasion. Skip the attack because we don't trade with this large creature hippo. It's 4/5, right? Actually, black mana. Oh no! And what the heck is this guy doing in this deck? That's very risky. I love it. He's going to grant additional negative counters to his creatures, which is adorable. Let's block here. Let's see what happens next. Or maybe he has a fatal push of sorts, or not, which was pretty weird actually. Alrighty then, let's swing with the Eldrazi Displacer just now. And our hand begs for us to keep on us, especially the opponent having the Implement of Malice. So we just save the mana. We might be flickering something nasty from the opponent, or our Nissa to get an additional land. This is going to work horrible for the opponent. It's he has 3 negative counters. He probably is not attacking here. Alright, so we are going to activate Eldrazi Displacer to flicker Nissa, which gives us an additional forest for it, provided I can pause the game and activate it. Alright. A bit unresponsive the game was, but seems to be working again. And there we go. Basswood Seer. Oh, that's a sweet one for later. And what to do here? I'm just going to attack with the Displacer. I expect the opponent to block with the Stinger. Let's see how it reacts to this play. Boom. We kill this, but now he's going to try to put the negative counters on one of our creatures, which is going to be, well, any of these targets we can flicker. Keep up some white mana for the ally evasion and get another forest in our hand and pass the turn safely. The opponent prevented some damage and forced us to tap down our mana, but I'd say that we are doing fine here. And another Soul Stinger, alrighty then. So we can repeat the process or use a Ajani right away. If I play Ajani, it means that we can lose our creatures, but Ajani is Ajani. Let's do it. So we have 6 cards in hand. Dice, so we can safely exile the guy. It gives the opponent a couple of life points, but that's not a problem, and we prevented the negative counters from flying away. I mean, from flying around the map. We can save Ajani by jump blocking with the Herald of the Pantheon, then drop planes, flip Nissa that enables Revolt, then we can return the Herald with the Renegade Rallier and play the Dry Harpooner to kill the winning Constrictor, provided of course the opponent decides to swing against Ajani here. But instead, all my plans go to the trash can. Right. So let's activate Ajani first to see if we have a cool play to do. Well, Call for Unity Flow, lovely. That is going to be online thanks to Nissa the Basswood Seer flipping. We have the discount from the Herald of Pantheon, Either Hub, which is the favorite card for the Eldrazi Displacer, and we are going to receive a new card that hopefully it's a land. Instead is Oath of Ajani, which I'm not going to complain about. Well, let's attack. So it seems that the opponent's plan is to throw lots of 1/1 tokens. We are going to have a very strong creatures thanks to the Call for Unity. So I think we just go ahead with the Rampager. And that should be it. For 5 Greenbuild Rampager. And I love having the Aviary Mechanic and the Oath of Ajani. Here comes, finally the opponent found what he was looking for. He's now proceeding to have lots of tokens. I think that was the plan all along. Look at these 2 1/1 tokens, so lovely. Well, meanwhile, Chamagoja. He's not hurrying to activate those. So let's begin with a little bit of Nissa. Let's see what we find. Implement. Implement is very good for our plans of a revolt. Let's see. Do I Ajani here? Probably it's wiser to exile the Festering Mummy. Let's do it. So let's just right away play a second Call for Unity. The implement. The tapping was awful. Now we cannot activate the implement and the oath, but I don't really care. Now, with this mana configuration, our shields are down, but I think we are doing okay. And losing a Ajani is not a big deal, but because activating the +2 is going to make us discard things that we don't want to. And now we have 2 Call for Unities. What is the plural of I think that the union is working here, which is extremely lovely. And now we just want to find the camels here, and we are going to have the best game possible. Alright. Okay, rinse, rise, and repeat. Well, or whatever. Another planeswalker, just another planeswalker. We can drop the Oath of Ajani first, but let's see. Okay, we're going to have to discard a large amount of... Oh, yes! Oh, the camel has shown up. Oh boy. So, land, Quarry Hauler, and we are going to give another counter to this over here. We could add a negative counter to the Winding Constructor, but that's going to happen later in the game. Oath of Ajani. Gain more life, and the ally of Zendikar, which is going to spawn a lovely token that happens to have +4/+4. Well, I guess I just attack here, and hopefully the opponent keeps playing here. He can block with all his creatures, but decides to take the damage. And he failed to see the beautiful plays that were in store for him. Ah, such a pity. Alright, let's get going again. Hopefully we're going to keep fighting the nice games. Come on, we are going to be facing some white and black vampires here. Maybe. So try to find a nice opener, then if we get to our late game we are set. So here we can draw an additional card using the implement and gain life, then later on we get to draw an additional more card and we have the evolving whites. Let's just keep this and turn one artifact, hold on and do nothing else. Of course we cannot afford to play anything more. Next turn we could consider dropping Canopy Vista. Opponent going so far with white and Renegade map. So we drew a land here which is less than great. I'm going to search for a better card. Hopefully we get some action. Please. Well, maybe this is an improvement on our previous situation. And black. So half of my suspicions are now confirmed. Opponent going with white and black, maybe more colors, maybe not vampires at all, but we are soon going to find out. Here there's an interesting way to go with this, because if I drop the Oath of Ajani, then I can be playing this next turn, but in order to drop Oath of Ajani this turn I have to spend the energy from the hub, which is not bad actually. So that is if I want to also be drawing something. Let's set up these and try to be not so greedy. Continue. And now we get more information about the opponent's plans. So this could mean the opponent is trying to do some revolt stuff of sorts, and we're going to be dropping Gideon, ally of Sandgar, right away. Give ourselves a token. I think that's the right move, and we could try to use the implement here. Let's leave the option open, and having the evolving wilds in hand, it's going to help us with Revolt later on. So now engage the making on Gideon, most likely. So our poor Gideon got exiled, but that means that we are going to have other things sticking, so that's not entirely bad, but we have to watch out for nasty stuff that can happen in the later turns. And now we have the Ajani Unyielding, which is much better than Gideon for us, but we have to wait for an additional land in order to play him. So let's first Evolutionary Leap just in case. Swing with our ally. So this needs Delirium in order to be enabled. Let's see, I don't think the opponent wants to block here. It seems to be asking to activate this ability. Confirm the attack. Oh, sorry, I forgot to confirm the attack. The opponent decides to block, so he wants Delirium, I guess. That's why he decided to go like this. Evolving Wilds, continue. And pass the turn. I'm not scared about this single Eldrazi Horror. Maybe the opponent has something more powerful later. More Delirium is bound to happen. Our guy gets the Shrink because the bad boy keeps -1, -1 once Delirium is online, and Moorland Drifter. Alright. Give me a nice little land over here, which probably, well, just a forest. And well, I was considering the option of sacrificing our knight ally here. If I play a Journey, it's going to get killed easily. So I think we just go ahead and sacrifice the guy. No, let's attack first. We do the sacrifice during combat. That's just a good way to do it. Let's hope for some good card to show up. The Herald of the Pantheon, let's not complain about that. Leave that Evolving Wilds there and play this guy. She could die if the opponent has another one of these guys. Of course, let's hope she doesn't. But she's going to bite the bullet, so let's at the very least trade her for another creature. The Hauler, not entirely bad, because that gives Jenny a surviving chance. Then, if we can resolve these two guys. I'm still not tempted on cracking the wilds here. So the opponent can't have another Anguished Making, which is pretty sorrowful. Let's try to find something that we can play. 6, and these 3 are lovely. Both displacers means that I don't actually need to hold back with the Evolving Wilds. Okay, Liliana. Interesting, but the opponent has depleted his hand. He's not swinging at what he's... of course, that's right. Give me another land, which probably we won't now waste this. Please. And it was just a land. That's not good. But we are flipping Nissa at the very least. We get that. Let's make a token here. And how about using the color? So let's make the opponent work if he wants to kill Nissa. I don't know if he might be sending the Tooth Collector just because he might be wanting to flip this Liliana. I expect the opponent to be running some sort of enchantment that we can target with Reclamation Sage, because that is the way to go faster with Delirium. And I like the combination of the Apiary Mechanic and the Oath of Ejani here. Should be fun to use. Only thing is that we are not going to be able to get rid of Liliana. Okay, just a land. Not good. Alright, let's drop you. Spend 2 more mana to play Oath of Ejani. Drop another planes. And I guess we can afford to cast the Displacer too. We have a backup Eldrazi Displacer in hand. Let's give everyone a +1/+1 counter. We can send these two guys attacking. If the opponent wants to flip Liliana, he should block with this guy. Let's see what happens. Alright, he likes flipping that Liliana, which is not going to bother us too much, hopefully. And we can keep bouncing these two and make these guys grow. So he needs to stay on defense. We can also banish all those tokens with the Displacer. Might be a better idea here. Alright, okay, Languish incoming, I guess. The opponent has to have some Languish, otherwise I don't see how this makes any sense. There we go. So, wait, game, I was using pause. Okay, this guy just taps my thing. Pause the game. That's certainly not fair at all. +1, we can discard the Evolving Wilds, of course. Taps down this guy. Play this and leave up some mana, I guess. Game. Why is it that language causes the game to fail. We don't know. Now we have to discard all the evasion. He probably wants to swing because anyways we can tap the guy using the Eldrazi Displacer. Here, before the turn ends, we are going to flicker the Eldrazi Displacer himself. And now we have Nissa, it's okay. Continue. Just another land. So we can drop Nissa for 2, make a plant, sacrifice the plant and find something that we can use. Please. Quarry Hauler, alright. I like it. So let's see. We attack here. Liliana is going to force us to discard one thing. Of course, at the current stage, we want to keep the Quarry Hauler in hand, but things may change if the opponent drops. Well, that's a target for Reclamation Sage, but I don't think it matters that much. Or does it? I trust we can recover Reclamation Sage in case of need. And no reason to let this flyer attacking us. Alrighty then. We get the Ashaya Tappen once again. So we must get up to 7 in order to have the ultimate. We can we do that? Does this untap the land? Oh no, we gain life and draw X cards. I think we are going to do that. Do not tap the colorless thing. Add 1 counter to this beautiful Nissa. We're going to first attack into this Liliana, because we're going to end the turn tapped down. So we better remove Liliana already. Now we activate this. That's correct. We add another counter on Nissa. And finally, 1 more counter for you, please. And doing the ultimate on Nissa, I think, is pretty fair. We're going to draw too many cards and gain too many life. How many? About 10? 1, 2, 3, 4... Whoa, the opponent left! I wonder why. What do you think, guys? Let's continue the game and see where this goes. Continue. We have to discard 3 cards. That means we have 10 cards, effectively. So, second evolutionary leap doesn't seem necessary. Grasping Dunes we can use to remove that flyer. So, I guess can drop 1 planes, 2, and Long Road Home is pretty helpful, so let's remove the Primal Druid. So we should be good to go here. So the opponent didn't want to stay on the game for some reason. We have to discard another card. I don't think we are going to be needing the Primal Druid this game. We can use her, but we don't need her. And no attacks, of course, but it doesn't matter because we have so much going on. And now we have the Green Warden too. So I guess the Grasping Dunes is the best play. Of course, we could try to find some different card to take care of that one, but I think this is just fine. We can start killing Liliana now. Which is pretty great. Call for Unity and try to leave colorless mana untapped. Well, we can activate the Displacer just once, which means I can probably want to play the Rampager for 1 energy. We are trading 1 green for 1 energy here, and if we need to, we have long road home. But the game should be over next turn. We have so fancy things that we can try here. Whispers of Emrakul. We have to discard 2 cards at random. Hopefully none. Oh, we lost. The Green Warden was one of the best cards for us because it means that we get our planeswalkers back from the graveyard. But of course we don't need the Green Warden, but it was interesting. So many lands for the opponent. Let's flicker the Camel because he loves going up and down. Call for Unity, now with double counters. We have so much things that we can do. Okay, let's see. Ich kann no. Well, we can kill the spiders too. The Evolutionary Leap. 3-4 spiders. Okay, attack with everything. Opponent might have another one of these bad boys in hand, or maybe a Celestial Flare or Blessed Lions. It's quite possible, but he does not apparently. Let's just, for the show, flicker the Camel a couple more times. Ta-da! So, finally we finished today's video. I want to thank you all for viewing, and I hope you have enjoyed our time together. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you think it's worth, and leave your comments below if you have any suggestions or ideas for me to try. We'll have another amazing video next time. Until then, sayonara!